Hey everybody, it's Brooke from The Buttered Home, and welcome to Messy Kitchen Monday. We thank you all for joining us tonight. We are on the cusp of the holiday season, which it all begins with Halloween, and then we go to Thanksgiving, and then we go to Christmas. So tonight is our second series of our holiday food fest. Now, this recipe tonight is a little bit different. It's not your traditional casserole that you'd have at Thanksgiving. We're going to give you that later. But if you're like us, we tend to kind of switch things up at Thanksgiving and Christmas especially. So one of the things that we like to do for Christmas is potluck or finger foods. Now this is not a finger food. This is actually a cook on top of the stove casserole type dish. So it's good for any time. But because it's a little indulgent, it fits the holidays perfectly. So we're gonna start. I'll kind of show you what I have for you. I've got my pan heating up over here. I have 2 cups of rotini pasta already cooked. I didn't figure you guys wanted to wait on that, so I went ahead and cooked those ahead of time. I have a pound of Conecuh sausage that I have sliced into little disc. I have about a half a cup of cheddar and a half a cup of mozzarella. I have 2 tablespoons of butter, and I have a can of fire roasted tomatoes. The fire roasted, they're with all the other tomatoes in the canned vegetable section of the grocery store. You can find them there, and they're really good. They have just a great depth of flavor being that they're fire roasted. So if you have to use a canned tomato, I always say use one that has lots of flavor already. Now, we have our typical start for a roux, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cook our sausage. Now, this sausage is smoked, so it's already cooked and it's safe to eat just like it is. However, we want to render some of that fat from the sausage and cook it just to give it a little bite and a little crispiness. So I'm going to place this in the pan, and then I'll start this up, and then we'll talk a little more while this cooks a little bit, and then I'll move the camera. So be sure, if you're joining us tonight live, to give us a wave in the comments. Let us know you're here. I'd love to know, for you non-Alabamians, where you're watching from. So be sure and give us a wave and let us know where you're from. We've had a busy couple of weeks, and it really kicks off the year for us being busy. I know that happens for a lot of people this time of year. If you have extended family, sometimes you have more than one Thanksgiving, you have more than one Christmas. So this would be a good dish to take to like a potluck family gathering or a work gathering. It's a little indulgent, it's a little rich, but like I said last week, that's what the holidays are kind of about. So this is what we like to call Conecuh Pasta. My very good friend, Janice Menifee, several years ago, she's a fabulous cook. She makes the best red velvet cake ever, next to my husband. I have to put that disclaimer in there, I'll get in trouble. But she's a fabulous cook. She probably cooks more nights during the week than I do. She's better at planning than I am. But this was a recipe that she shared with me a long time ago. Of course, I've modified it some because I cannot find the actual recipe, so I'm relying on my brain. But every time I cook it, it's the same way. It's consistent for me anyhow. So I'm going to move the camera so you can kind of see what's going on. All right, and you see we've got our pasta cooking. Not our pasta, I'm sorry. Our sausage cooking, and you can see that some of the fat is rendering off. I've got it on a medium to high heat so that it'll cook rather fast. And like I said before, it's already cooked, so there's not a great need to cook it for very long. You just want to get it a little crispy. and a little snappy. Now we love Conecuh sausage. Conecuh sausage is made right here in the great state of Alabama. If I come home with much of anything else, I get in trouble. It's funny, I only get in trouble with Danny about food things. We had a mayonnaise war for years and years. He definitely knows what he likes and what he doesn't like. So you'll see some of the fat is starting to render off here. And we're actually going to use that good fat for the rest of the dish. We're going to take everything out here in just a minute when I see that it's all browned and crispy like I want it. And the good thing about this is it's all on top of the stove. You don't have to heat your kitchen up. It's all like a one-pan dish. Alright, so I'm thinking that we're good with that, so I'm just going to take it out and drain it. And I'm going to leave the fat from the sausage in the pan. And now you always hear me say there are two things that are the start of anything really good. And that's butter and eggs, or butter and bacon fat. So now you see we're just left with our pan drippings here. And I'm going to add in the next best thing, and that's about 2 tablespoons of butter. And it should melt pretty quick because my pan is already good and hot. And you'll see as the butter comes in, it kind of deglazes the pan just a little bit. But you want to keep all those good little cooking bits in there because that's where all your flavor lies. Of course, when you season, you add flavor to your dish there as well. But a ton of flavor is in that dish already. Alright, so of course, those of you who follow me and watch my live videos, you know what comes next, right? Anytime we want to thicken anything, we're going to make a roux, right? So I've got a little over a tablespoon of flour here. I'm just going to mix that in a little bit at a time because I don't want to have too much. That's just my thickening agent. So we're going to cook it with that fat and the pan drippings. And y'all, if you're just joining us tonight, we are cooking Conecuh Pasta. So I have about a pound of Conecuh link sausage cut up into little discs. I have 2 cups of cooked rotini pasta. I have 1 14.5-ounce can of fire roasted tomatoes that have been drained. I have a cup and a half of half and half, and I have about a cup of 2 different kind of cheeses. Not a cup of each, but a half a cup of each. All right, so that's cooked about a minute or so. So I like where it's going. So the next thing I'm going to add in is I'm going to add in that cup and a half. And I'm turning my heat up just a little bit because I want to bring this to a boil. There's a cup and a half of half and half. Now you can use heavy cream, but heavy cream is a little much for this dish since you've already got the rendered fat from the sausage and the butter. Now half and half is good because it adds a good creamy texture and flavor to the sauce. But you could also use whole milk because you're introducing one fat into another. So whole milk is good, it's just not as sweet maybe as the half and half. So right now I'm going to stop what I'm doing and I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper. Alright, and I just got told I need to adjust my camera, so just bear with me. And of course it's not gonna work right. Okay. And you see we're thickening up nicely. Now, does anybody remember from our very first live cooking episode how we test to see if our roux is thick enough? If you do, answer. Wait a minute. Also, this is optional, but I don't get the spicy sausage, so I like to add just a little bit of red pepper flake to this just to give it a little kick. Tanner, has anybody answered on the thick test?
Not yet.
All right, party poopers. Well, I'll show you. You just get a spoon and you run it through. And if you run your finger through it and it does not move, then you're good. Now, also this gives you a chance to taste it. So I just tasted it and I need a little bit more salt. Now, I always say salt and pepper. You can always add more. You can't always take it out. So be careful with your salt and pepper. And I always err on the side of caution where we don't do a lot. All right, so I'm going to turn my heat back down. And at this point, I'm going to add in those fire roasted tomatoes because that's going to be just a little bit more liquid and will thin my sauce just a little bit. And it's going to turn our sauce this beautiful pink color. And boy, those fire roasted tomatoes that are diced, they add a whole lot of flavor. And I'm going to add back in my sausage. And you know, everything is cooked. So once you get everything added in, it's just a matter of heating it through. And now I have my pasta. So I'm going to add it just a little bit at a time because 2 cups cooked, y'all, that's a lot of pasta.
Lisa Trey, which just joined, she asked what we're making.
We are making Conecuh pasta. It is Conecuh sausage diced up, fire roasted tomatoes, and cooked rotini pasta. And it is fine. And it's all one cook on top of the stove. So you just kind of want to fold everything in, get it all good and mixed. And y'all, this makes a ton of food. This will feed a big crowd. And it's so good. Now you can do one of 2 things at this point. You can add your cheese and mix it in, which is what I like to do. Or you can top it with cheese and pop it in the oven and just brown the top if you'd like. My folks like it just like this. So we're just gonna add in this cheese, 2 different kinds. I got a half a cup of cheddar and a half a cup of mozzarella. And I like these dishes because I don't have to make them ahead of time. I can make them here live with you from start to finish. And y'all, it's just so much cheese, it's just going everywhere. And look, I have to show everybody. Of course, he just moved. If he comes back, I'll show you. My dog Jasper, he loves the buttered home kitchen. And he loves to stand right in between me and the stove or right in between me and the counter. Wherever I am, wherever he thinks I may drop something. And he's not going to do it now. He's deaf, but I think he heard what I was saying. So there we go. Like I said, you could actually put that in the oven for a few minutes, or you can serve it just as is. And I'm going to get a plate. A little better prepared tonight. And you know, Tanner's standing by. She doesn't film for me anymore, but she monitors comments, so she's happy to get the first dish.
It hurts to be the only people that hang out here.
Reagan goes missing. All right, and I like to add just a little parsley to the top, just to make it all pretty and festive. that pink and red and green. And y'all, it's so good. Ooh, it's so good. All right, so I'm gonna move the camera. Let you see Jasper. And knock you upside the counter. All right, so that is our Conecuh Pasta. And while it's not a traditional holiday dish, it is one that is very good for you to take to work if you all like to eat at work together, or if you have, like we have sometimes, which is a holiday potluck. So while it's not your traditional casserole for Thanksgiving or anything else, it's very good. And it's not so good for you, but now we're not in the business of always eating the right way. Yes, ma'am.
Stacy probably went to the pie and asked what kind it was.
Oh, that's a pumpkin pie. I have a pumpkin pie. I'll show it to you guys. It's not exactly the prettiest.
Test kitchen.
Yeah, just test kitchen today, and you see a good hunk of it's gone, so I guess that means it passed the test. But that's our pumpkin pie that we tested out today. Oh, there's Jasper.
And Miss Joan Ellis Rush asked, could you use Rotel in place of the diced tomatoes?
Yes, you can. You can use, Joan, I was saying earlier that the diced tomatoes, you know, you can get them with a little heat to them, so the Rotel tomatoes would be actually really good too, and you wouldn't have to put in the red pepper flakes. Also, you can get the hot or the medium or mild sausage and use it too. I just knew, you know, that I was just going to be making the standard tonight. And so, you know, a lot of the recipes that I like to share have those variations in them. For instance, even the cheese. You can use a different kind of cheese if you'd like. Pepper jack is good in it too. So you can make it really mild or really spicy, however you want. But as usual, tomorrow afternoon, I'll be posting the recipe for this. And as always, I want to thank you guys for being here with me every Monday night, and especially at this hour. So we thank you for that, and we hope you'll try this dish, and but send me a picture. You know, I love pictures of food. So be sure if you try this to send us a picture of your food. We're girls, we like pictures of our food. So y'all have a great night, and be looking forward to next week. We'll have some more Thanksgiving, more traditional fare for Thanksgiving next week. We got a lot coming up in the next 2 months, and we really enjoy just the thought of being able to share holidays with you all. So you all have a good night, and from us, all of us here at the Buttered Home, bye-bye.